Ladies and gentlemen, this is Jack from LyonsArcade and Tech Repair Journey, back with another exciting, not so exciting video for you today. What we have here is a Seawolf, and this is my row of shame over here where I have a Birdie King multi-game that I'm working on. My Seawolf has been down for a while, and then I have a track and field over here that I need to work on. But my Seawolf has been working for a very long time. And I have, it went down, I don't know when, a year or two ago probably. So let's power it on and see what we got. All right, let's power it on. The power button's right here at the top. And a few things I want you to hear a little bit, but first let's see what the game's doing. Not much. Some sound working. But not much else. It looks like it's resetting because I see a little flash there, but not sure. I'm going to unplug the soundboard because I want to show if I can get it off with one hand. There we go. Because I also want to have you listen to some other sound here real quick. Power it on. Listen to the speaker with the fluorescent light. It's a black light bulb, fluorescent light, but it is making a horrendous noise for the speaker, and I think it's that transformer. Right there is the transformer, and I think that transformer might be going bad, but it's probably original, and it's squealing that speaker like crazy. Whether it should be shielded or not, it wasn't originally anyway. So we're going to test that transformer, maybe replace it. This is what it sounds like with the transformer unplugged for the fluorescent, or I should say the ballast, the fluorescent ballast. And the other thing we're going to check real quick is, listen to this right here. That high voltage coming from the anode cup. It's squealing a little bit. And this monitor's never been recapped, I don't believe, as far as I can tell. See, listen. Sounds a little weird to me. I don't know if it's the flyback or that diode or what. There's the power supply. I have some stuff written on it to test points, so we're going to test that as well. So we'll come back and get the PCB hopefully working first, because I've never repinned anything out. I got this game from a fellow club member a long time ago for free. And I think I just messed with the reset circuit or something like that on the power supply board, and it worked ever since. So now we got some issues. All right, I have my multimeter wired up to some test points there. You can see the 5-volt test point. And I have good 5 volts on the power supply. We haven't checked on the board yet. Let's go to, see, it's kind of hard to do this. This should be my 12 volt. I have good 12 volts. Let's go to -5. Good -5. So my power supply looks good, at least at the power supply. We don't know if our reset circuit's working right. And we'll come right back. All right, I wired up just to that capacitor right there. Hopefully you can see that. That's my negative spot, and 5 volts right here. This comes into this first little PCB finger, and that's 4.9. And if I come to a chip, which will be like right there. 4.8, so there's a little bit of voltage drop, but I don't think that's enough to cause a problem. Is it working? No. So it could be a reset issue. Let's see here. Can look at the monitor. Could be that reset line from the power supply. Alright, so I have the game powered off, and we checked the voltage, and the voltage should be good enough for the game to boot. And I want to test this reset circuit, which is, I'm connected, it says reset test point. It's on the other side of this Zener diode. And I believe that should be less than 0.6 volts when I measure it. So let's power it on and see what we get. And then we'll see if we can actually flash it or something. And yeah, see, it says 0.07 volts, which is not ideal. And we got junk on the screen. What it will do is we'll just touch it real quick to see if we can get it to drop to 0 volts. And then it's 0.6. Let's see. Did it do anything on the screen? No. So the good news is I actually have a Spacer Invaders. As you can see here, a Space Invaders Deluxe. And actually this power supply is from a Seawolf, I believe. It was fixed by Electron Forge, and my Space Invaders power supply went out, and I went ahead and put in a Seawolf, or maybe it's Space Invaders, I guess. Either one, they'll work in either game, so that's not a problem. So let me pull this out and actually measure the reset on the Space Invaders and see if we're onto something. Okay, I have my multimeter wired up to the test point and ground, and we know my Space Invaders is working. And we'll power it up and watch what happens on the reset circuit. Goes to 0.17 volts, and then comes down, and hopefully it's booted. Let's see. Yes, if you can see that. So we know, I believe we have a reset circuit issue, and we can fix that relatively easily, I think. It's just a couple, that Zener, and then these 2 transistors and a couple resistors. And I think that's what's causing it to have a problem. It needs to go high and then go low, if it's working correctly. Either that or it's a problem on the board, potentially, I guess. Alright, I have my board for my Space Invaders wired up. I have it going to the test point, the reset test point. We'll turn it on, watch hopefully this works. I already tested the voltages and stuff just to make sure. Goes up, goes right back down to 0. And we have Seawolf playing. So I think it's safe to say we definitely have a reset issue on this board. So let's go to the bench and take a better look at it. Okay, we're at the bench, and I took about a couple hour distraction. I was going to test the Zener diodes with my power supply, but my power supply only doesn't go all the way down to 0 volts, and it's a little flaky when you're doing very fine tuning, so not good enough to test these Zeners. So I had to grab the other power supply boards, and this one here is the one that came out of the Seawolf, and it is a revision. Oh, I have it upside down. Revision E board, and I actually posted about fixing I think this board back in 2016 on Clove. I'll link to the thread up here, but I had replaced this diode here with this is from Bob Roberts' website, and here's the Zener diode. It comes with a 5230 4.7 half watt Zener, and I replaced it with a 1 watt Zener. And I would think that that's probably good. I mean, granted it could have been bad, but who knows. This is the other power supply that came with the game, and I just pulled it out of my Space Invaders so we know it's working. And it is a Midway 8904 Revision D. One of the things that's different is this Revision E has this jumper wire right here going horizontally on the power supply. All of them have these two jumper wires here. As you can see, this is my original Space Invaders one. Has these jumper wires on the top there, but this one has a horizontal one, which is for like some 16 volts or something. It's for a different pin number 9 on this connector that I have no idea what game uses it. So I guess what we'll do is I already tested these in circuit, and you can't really test a Zener diode with a simple diode test, but it looks okay. I'll probably pull the transistors here, this one right here and this one right here, and test them out of circuit and see if that gives us a clue. So hoping that the Zener's still good. If one of these don't test bad, I'll go ahead and replace the Zener anyway and put it back in the game. All right, I don't know where exactly I was at because I wasted several hours as swapping power supplies on the bench, and all three power supplies seemed to work. I was like replacing the Zener, swapping transistors, and I could not get this thing to consistently boot in the Seawolf. So I was like, all right, maybe I shouldn't be focused on the power supply board. Maybe I should be focused on monitoring with a logic probe the power on reset circuit actually on the motherboard itself. So I went through and I was just getting ready I took the PCB out. As you can see, I removed this thing here, the little retainer there. Took the PCB out and I was like, okay, let me find out a good spot to probe the power on reset circuit on this board, because reaching all the way to the 8080 over there, I think it's pin 12, it's kind of a pain in the ass. And it is pin 9 on this side. If you see that little black mark is where I marked it. And while it was out, I figured I'd clean the card edge and with a fiberglass pen and say like, well, maybe it just wasn't making good contact. So powered it back on. Spoiler alert, I think we fixed it. I'm going to power it on real quick. And this is the same power supply. And I'm monitoring the reset circuit right there. So it goes up and then comes back down. It goes up to about almost, what was it? Was it 1.9 volts or something? And let's see what we have. Is it running? Boom. Running. Not a problem, as you can see there. So the game is now playing, and I have 0.07 volts. Now my other power supply board, it goes all the way down to 0 volts. Why is that blurry? But you get the idea. Anyway, obviously 0.07 volts is fine. That's almost 0 volts. Was it reading 0.7 volts before? I think it was, wasn't it? Let's power it off. .1. I think there's a capacitor on the circuit, so let's see. Make sure it has no stray voltages. Alright, there we go. Yeah, it doesn't go up much. I mean, it barely read like 0.13 volts and comes down to 0.07. I could have swore it said 0.7 before, so I don't know if it just wasn't making good connection there or not. But we are, let's see here, we are running consistently now. Just needed to clean the card edge. Go figure. Alright, so maybe we'll replace the, well, I don't know what I'm going to do with the monitor yet, but you listen to that. This definitely doesn't sound good. I think it's coming from the Anode Cup. Alright, now that I got the game booting up regularly, let's go ahead and take out that transformer. I think the easiest thing for me to do is probably just cut these two wires here coming out of the transformer and then use wire ties for the new one. Yeah, that's what I'm going to do. Basically, I'm going to disconnect this, cut the two wires right here, put the new transformer in. We'll measure it at the bench as well. Alright, I took the ballast out, and it's 30 ohms, so maybe that's not the problem. Usually when these are bad, they read a lot worse than that, like 10 or something like that ohms. Here's a brand new one, 33 ohms. So I'll put the new one in, but I don't know if that's what it is causing the extra noise there. It just could be needing a shield or something. Alright, I have it wired up. Now, I don't have a new starter. Or I could put one in, but I haven't put a new one in. But the fluorescent light is new. So we'll see if it sounds any better. Definitely sounds better. Is the damn thing on? I heard the little crackling. Yeah. Definitely much better. That is just the audio board there. We'll unplug it real quick just to check here. See if I can unplug it with one hand. No. How's that? There we go. Okay, so you're hearing it without the fluorescent light on. Yeah, much better. That transformer was jacked. I'll put a new starter into F5 too. You only need it to start up the bulb. Alright, so it's been about a month, 30 days or so, and the good news is my sad corner is looking better. I got some art from Joe Zabo, still waiting on some other stuff to finish up this time pilot here that I started a video. I think I'll link to it up there somewhere. But yeah, still needs some work. And then I put together track and field, just needs the coin door, of course. I hate doing coin doors. And it's working, but we got our Seawolf doesn't look like it's working, or is it? You can hear it playing, but that is just screen burn. The image is not on. And if I turn it off and turn it back on, you see it flash the image for a split second. And then it's nothing, because that's just the black light illuminating the monitor face a little bit with the screen burn. So I'll do it again. Game is definitely booting up. You see it kind of flash like it's on, and then no video signal. So I don't know what's going on there. All right, I moved it and took the back out. Still got that weird squealing there. I need to do that, mess with that. All I did is power it off. Unplug this connection here. I assume this black and white is actually the video connection, but I'm not sure. I'm gonna go look at the manual, but unplugged it, plugged it back in, and let's see here. Boom. We got a good video again. Where's my start button? I got the Anode Cup off, and with my tool right here, and it's very dry. The plastic is very hard as well, and it doesn't look great inside there. I'm almost wondering if you see this here, if I pull on this, like you can, I don't know what that is. Moves the whole fly back. That thing's loose. I don't know, what is that? It's just like rubber. I haven't messed with these monitors before. It's an old black and white. Okay, so I put plugged the monitor back in, and I cleaned that area up a little bit and put some dielectric grease on the anode cap there. And it's, you know, maybe it's going to seal it up a little bit better, but we'll find out. Let's power it on. See if any sparks fly. Sounds better. I don't hear that high voltage noise. See if it's on. Yep, everything's working. So fix that. Yeah, that's much better. I don't hear anything. Any of that crackling. So just clean that up a little bit. There's a lot of dust and stuff, but whoop, there we go. Now we're getting it. Interesting. I don't know. I'm gonna have to post about that and see. Maybe make another video coming back or something, messing with this monitor. I could probably potentially cut off this and put a donor anode cover on there. Not sure. Well, that ended up not being that interesting of a video, so I figured I'd move games around and do a quick walk around. So I moved the Seawolf over to a different part and made a little Konami row here. As you can see, Gyrus, Track and Field, and Time Pilot still need some work to do. And then I have my Gorf and Millipede and Neo Geo, Scramble, which is a multi-kit, and there's my Popeye, and Q-Bert, and Kix. No, it's a Space Dungeon. I always say that. I still haven't messed with that. Sinistar went down. It was working. Make Tracks works, but I'm waiting on some parts. But Sinistar went down for some reason. It won't boot, so I have to figure that out. Bubbles, Robotron, Stargate, Joust, Moon Patrol, Defender, Pac-Man, Carnival, and then I moved, I haven't plugged it in yet, but I moved my Donkey Kong multi over there. So we come over to this side of the room. So I kind of made a little black and white line up here. So we got Warlords upright with the Seawolf that's now working again, but I have no idea what's going on with that monitor chassis. And then Space Invaders Deluxe, which I kind of like over here because it's super deep And it fits better over here than where it was, where the Popeye is on that side of the room. So Spy Hunter's down. That's my multi-kit, CPS2 multi, but I have a Tekken 3. There's my lock and chase, and then pole position cockpit. As you can see there, there's my Birdie King project. Battle Zones down, Asteroids Deluxe, Asteroids, and Star Wars and Gravatar, and then there's my Major Havoc project. So I still have a lot of projects down here, but anyway, guys, that's it. Just figured I'd move stuff around, and then since the video wasn't that great, honestly. Oh yeah, one more room. Also, my Gyra side art, which you can't see because of the light right now, but it's like killer now that you can see it, so it's kind of cool there. There's my Baywatch. I've been messing with that and fixing it up like the last week, and then oh yeah, Tron works, but I just don't have it powered on. And then there's my Tron pinball and stuff. So there's another project back here too. Look, Baby Pac-Man. But I haven't had a chance. So what is that? 4 or 5 projects that I need. So all right, guys, that's it. That's my little walk around in my basement. It's just for me. It's only me that usually comes down here. So cheers.